one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown-Alanta, where you are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity. So am I. And so it is. Whoever you are, whatever path brought you here today, please know that you are welcome and celebrated. We know who you are. You are an individualized expression of the divine life in which we all live. We are the opportunity to be someone unique and wonderful in this world. Whatever your ethnic background, your religious affiliation, however you know yourself and describe yourself, we are glad you are joining us here today. You're welcome to be a part of this community in whatever way serves you. And here's our vision statement. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And now, here's our Declaration of Principles as written by our founder, Ernest Holmes.
A few of the Declaration of Principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful, hey.
Welcome back. So, a practitioner is someone who has demonstrated the ability to use spiritual practice and spiritual laws to bring about great changes in their lives. And they've demonstrated they know how to bring about these changes in others when they're asked. You can reach our practitioners on our website, cslmidtown.org, and look for the practitioners and communicate with them. Today we've got a special practitioner. Becky Fox is an artist, a graphic designer, facilitator, teacher, spiritual coach who specializes in empowering others to create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. Becky is a licensed practitioner emeritus with the Centers for Spiritual Living, trained in assisting others to make changes in their life in their way of thinking, whether in a class, in a session, or one-on-one. Becky provides a safe and comfortable space where each person is encouraged to step through their fears, move into the life they have always dreamed of having. And Becky uses her creative and artistic background in classes that uses arts to heal and transform lives. Welcome, Becky.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure. I just love your community. Thank you for inviting me again back here. And so I just invite everybody to turn within to that heart space. As we begin this morning's prayer treatment, just feel the gratitude, the gratefulness, because it's in this heartfelt space of being grateful where it opens up our hearts to receive all the good that God supplies for each one of us. And in this wonderful, loving space, I recognize this one divine spirit that is all-knowing, all-powerful, and everywhere present. It is the very essence of who and what each one of us is, the very essence of our being. We each are unified in this one mind. And so knowing that each one of us is not separate from divine mind, in this realization, I am knowing that this morning is filled with its love, with all of the possibilities, the infinite possibilities that are right here, which within each one of our reach. Our consciousness is aware of what it is that we want in our life. We do it with clarity, with love, with intention. We bring this into our life design. I'm knowing that for this community, Divine Spirit is right here because each member is embraced and empowered by this divine love, bringing expansion, bringing wisdom and knowledge and so much more into this community. I'm knowing that the same infinite power of love is within Reverend Dr. Ron's message this morning, that it fills each one of us with its power, with its knowledge, with the direction to guide us in our life. I am so grateful for all of this and so much more, knowing that Divine Spirit is unfolding its good in each of our lives. So I'm knowing for today's discussion that it brings us to a clearer idea of what we can bring into the world, into our community. I release this into the law, knowing that it manifests so much into our life, our community, the world. And so it is.
So it is. Yeah, that was great.
I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power. I got the power, you got the power, we got the power.
All right, freeform dance.
I've got the power
To make all my dreams come true.
I've got the power.
There's nothing I can't do.
I've got the power.
To be anything I want.
I've got the power inside of me.
Yeah.
I've got the power inside of me.
Every day I'm wasting my time thinking that someone else is gonna do it all for me. I've got to
Get up, get out, get it.
just get started. Take one step towards my destiny. Then I'll
Find my direction with clear-cut intention.
declare what will be and then just watch it come to me.
I've got the power.
To make all my dreams come true.
I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me.
Talk to me down, David.
There are days when I feel that I'm just no good. Days when I don't even want to try. But when I stop, look and listen and surrender, I hear a voice of truth I cannot deny. It says you know you can do it, and just get down to it.
Have faith in yourself and the will to see it through.
I've got the power
To make all my dreams come true.
I've got the power.
There ain't nothing I can't do.
I've got the power.
To be anything I want.
I've got the power inside of me. I've got the power inside of me.
In those times when I feel so frightened and it seems like I just can't go on, I need to look deep inside, 'cause that's where I find the power, the power, the power inside of me. Yeah. I got the power.
I've got the power.
You got the power. You got the power. You got the power.
I've got the power.
I got the power now.
I've got the power inside of me.
Are you feeling it?
I've got the power inside of me.
I got it. All right, so we're gonna sing this together. I got the power. You got the power. We got the power.
I got the power. You got the power. We got the power. I got the power. You got the power. We got the power. I got the power. You got the power. We got the power.
Sing with us.
I got the power. You got the power. We got the power. I got the power.
We're gonna do this for about 10 hours,
We
just
got
over
the
and over
power.
until you get it.
I got the power. You got the power. We got the power. I got the power. You got the power. We got the power.
I got the power. You
Got the power. We got the power. I got the power. You got the power. We got the power. Power. All right. Awesome song. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning. And we welcome back Reverend Dr. Ron Fox. Ron Fox has been a motivational speaker and workshop facilitator for over 25 years. He had a long and successful career as a human resources executive, working for such companies as General Foods, GlaxoSmithKline, Unum, and Mattel Toys. Ron also operated a very successful search firm in Southern California. Ron is an ordained minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living. He's a gifted speaker and published author. His inspirational style, coupled with a keen sense of humor, makes him a favorite with audiences everywhere he's spoken, especially here. In 2018, the Centers for Spiritual Living honored him by designating him a Doctor of Divinity. In 2019, he was awarded the Meritorious Minister Award for his outstanding service. He resides in Port St. John, Florida, with Becky, who we heard from before. And welcome, Reverend Dr. Ron.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. A little bit tough to follow my wife with that great prayer, but I'll try. So this week, Becky and I were talking, and Becky said, you know, when you speak, they only see one side of you. You want to show them a little different side of you in your message. So I know this is going to sound a little braggy, but I'm going to start off by telling you some of my great counseling skills, okay? So I have 3 children, a girl and, well, a woman, and 2 sons. And neither one of my sons liked school or did well in school. And my older son, his name is Jeremy, he just did not like school. And both of my sons are adopted, so I could say they're really good looking. And Jeremy, when he was young, had blonde hair. He was a really good looking kid, and he was very tough. He was probably the toughest kid in middle school. And he had a different kind of hairstyle. It was a flat top on top and long in the back. And the kids in school gave him the nickname, the dude with the hair. So now here's the story. I was working for Mattel at the time, and Becky and I had a woman who had 5 children who watched our 2 sons after school. And one day she called me up and she said, Ron, you got to come home. Something happened at school today, and Jeremy is crying, and he's inconsolable. I can't stop him. And she told me what happened. Jeremy decided he was going to run for president of the school, which I'm sure gave heart failure to all of the teachers. The last person they probably would have wanted as the school president was the school toughie who did not do well or like school. But he was running, and each of the people had to stand up before the assembly and give a 3-minute talk. Well, Jeremy got nervous after about 2, and he said, so remember, when you vote for the dude with the hair. And the teachers disqualified him. And Jeremy was inconsolable. And the lady who was watching him said, I was so angry when he told me that. Ron, I hope you don't mind. I actually went to school and talked to the principal about it. Well, it takes me 45 minutes to get home from Mattel, and Jeremy is still crying, which is really not like Jeremy, because Jeremy's demeanor was a tough guy. And no matter what I said to him, I couldn't get through to him. And finally, I had this, what I thought was an inspiration. I said, Jeremy, remember when you came to work with me? And I had this big poster on the wall. It was all blue, and it had lemons on it. And it said, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And Jeremy stopped crying. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I reached him. And I looked at him, and he said, Dad? And I said, yes, Jeremy. And he said, Dad, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Well, that's so much for my counseling skills. Unfortunately, that is absolutely a true story, too. And years later, when I thought about it, I thought, I think he might have been right. But the reason I started out with that is because when life gives us difficult times, and I'm sure everybody watching me today is mature enough to know life is going to give us difficult times at some point in our life, that we have a choice of seeing it as a problem or an opportunity. And when we seek spiritual guidance from Spirit, it always responds. Now, it might not respond in our time frame, and we might not hear what we'd like to hear, but it will always respond. No matter what cards we are dealt, no matter what card, we can always move beyond that card to a better place. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I read that researchers found that people who had the most tragic losses, whatever you would think is the most tragic loss you could experience, people that experienced what to them was the worst loss they could ever have, the people that thought somehow at some point in time, I will be able to find a lesson or a meaning in this, are the people that survived. And just one more example. When Barbra Streisand was a young girl, her dad was very cold and very aloof. And I read one time when she was being interviewed after she was a big star, the interviewer heard her tell that, how cold and aloof he was. And so in order for her to gain her dad's approval, she started to sing. And so the interviewer said to her, so are you saying if you never had to seek your dad's approval, you might not have ever gone into show business? And she said, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And the point to me is when life gives you what seems to be the worst thing it can, and I'm sure for a young girl, not being able to connect with her dad is one of the worst things. When life gives you one of those things, it's often what pushes us forward too. You and I are powerful creatures. Only ideas of limitation can hold us back. And when we get rid of those ideas of limitation, we can get to places we never dreamed we would be. So, what is a life without limits? It's a life without restrictions. It's a time when you and I give ourselves permission to think big and to dream big. And when we do, doors open for us. You know, some of us are living lives with limitation and we don't even realize it. It's really interesting. Children have great dreams. They give themselves permission to dream big. Let me give you two examples. There have been researchers that gone into schools, and when they go into the lower grades, you know, the first couple of grades, and they say to the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? They get tons of answers back. When they take the same question in the same school in high school, they get nothing. And Carl Sagan said remember Carl Sagan is the scientist, when he would go into schools to talk science, when he went in and spoke to the young kids, they would ask question after question, and there would be all kinds of things going on, all kinds of energy. When he went into the high schools, they got next to nothing because the kids were afraid to ask a quote, quote, stupid question. You know, what happens to that dreaming, to that thinking big? I think it's what happens is that the adults in our lives treat us the way they were treated, and they do it out of love. They give us and inculcate in us what their ideas of a successful life is. You know, my wife is an artist. When she graduated high school and wanted to go on to an art school, her mom said to her no, and her brother, her dad was gone, that that's not what girls do to be successful. You need to go and learn how to be a secretary. And for years, that took her away from her art. So, you know, we don't, if you look and you feel like you're living somebody else's dream or somebody else's life, you can change that, because beliefs aren't meant to stay. Beliefs are only meant to be in our life as they serve. And when they serve no more, we can do the work to release that belief and take on beliefs that do serve us. You know, Esther and Jerry Hicks write that the universe, we should expect good from the universe, because the universe is a friendly place to us. And we should recognize that you and I are spiritual beings that have great strength and great power. And when we recognize that, when we recognize our strength, when we recognize our spiritual power, we can be anything, we can do anything, and we can have anything. I want to give you two examples from my life. And the truth is, both of these examples, I didn't realize my own power, my own strength, but other people recognized it for me, and it made a difference. I had a great relationship with my dad, and I went to undergraduate school to New York University. I majored in economics, and the school that I was in was almost all guys. And I think I was a junior or a senior, I was taking a philosophy course, and it was all guys and one girl. And this young woman was gorgeous. She was the kind of girl that most guys would look at and say, I ain't never getting a date with her. And I was running for student government. And so I had to have petitions signed. And I would do it in my classes. So I passed my petition around, and sure enough, she signed it with her address and phone number. And when I got home, I was telling my dad about it. And he said, "You're going to call her up and ask her out?" And I said, "Not a chance." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Dad, look where she lives." She lived on Park Avenue in the nicest area you could live in Manhattan. And we lived in a tenement in the Bronx. And my dad said, "Hey," he laughed. He said, "Maybe she'd find it quaint to go out with a poor guy." And then he came in and he sat down and he said, "You need to make that call." He said, "You're a big guy. I can't tell you what to do anymore, but you need to make that call. You need to make it to prove to yourself that you're more than you think you are." He said, "When I look at you, I see a good-looking kid, smart kid with a good sense of humor, and you're selling yourself short. You need to pick up the phone, and you need to do it." And so I did. And I can still remember when she picked up the phone and said, "Hello." I said, "Hello, this is your representative to the All Square Student Congress." And she laughed, and she said, "Hi, Ron. When I wrote down my address and phone number, I was hoping you would call." Let me give you one more example. In school, I had to take a statistics class. I wasn't really good at statistics. And as a freshman, this was, and when we first started school, all of the freshmen came really dressed up, ties, looking good. After about 6 weeks, we start coming in sloppy jeans, dirty sweatshirts, sneakers, And the teacher was a fellow named Henry Chai, who had a very heavy Chinese accent. So he was difficult at times to understand. And some of the kids mocked him, but I would never do that. And I sat up front, and a couple of times I went to his office for help. One day after class, he grabbed me and he said, "Would you come to my office?" And I came to his office, and he said to me, "Mr. Fox, I watch you. You're a good person, a good kid. I see how you interact with other people. I also see you're not good in statistics, but you're a smart kid too." And then he leaned over, he put his hand on my arm, and he whispered, "But you look like a bum. And I know why. You look like a bum because you follow the crowd. Mr. Fox, you're better than the crowd. You don't need to follow them. If you do, they will bring you to their level, and then you'll be one of many, but you're better than that. That's all. Goodbye." Well, I was like 18 years old, and it really shook me up. So much so that I spent the whole weekend thinking about it. And Monday, I came to school dressed up again. Now, I'm not saying that was what brought me to having a great school career. But at the end of that year, I had 12 classes, I got 10 A's, and I got a full academic scholarship. And I do think part of it was because Henry Chai saw something in me that I didn't see. And my dad saw something in me that I didn't see. And, when my wife was introduced before, and you heard about what practitioners do, if you can't see your truth, they can see it for you. Let me read you a quote from the Buddha. "There is praise, blame, gain and loss, pleasure and pain, fame and disrepute. Did you think this would not happen to you?" We go through all of that in our life. And when we do, we're never alone. Spirit is always with us. Even Jesus and Buddha went through difficult times. When we go through difficult times, we need to face them and find our strength to meet them head on. We can ask ourselves, what matters to me now, what would a wise person do? We need to remember who we are. And when we do, no matter what happens, we can rely on our strength and our courage to get through. So here are 5 questions in difficult times that you can ask yourself. The first one is, what can I learn from this? You know, I always tease and say to my friends, there's great advantages to being married to a practitioner and disadvantages. The disadvantage is I never get to wallow. When I'm having a tough time, my wife doesn't let me wallow. Recently, I did have a really tough time with somebody, and everybody I spoke to said I was right, including Becky. It was somebody did something that was very wrong, and everybody said, you're right. But when it was all over and things had calmed down, Becky sat me down and said to me, okay, how is he your teacher? What can you learn from this experience? We can all see an opportunity to learn and to grow from every experience we have. Second question is, how can this strengthen me? You know, when we go through a difficult time, we can be strengthened when we come out the other side. We can see our own spiritual power. Mary Tyler Moore, this isn't a quote, but she said something to the effect of, if only good things happen to you, how can you ever see what your strength is? A third question we can ask ourselves is, how can I use this to my advantage? Meaning, how could I see it from another perspective? And when you do that, maybe you could find out another solution to it, another way to approach the issue, whatever it is. A fourth question we can ask ourselves, how can I use this to help others? And the last question is, what would make this a worthwhile experience? And I'll just say to you, when I went through my divorce, I thought it was the end of the world. And the truth is, it was the opening of a world. I went to counseling, I learned, I grew, and 5 years later, I met this angel that's in my life now. And I once said to my daughter, I would go through all of that pain 100 times over to wind up where I am now. So all of these questions, they remind us how we can feel empowered. They remind us we always have a choice in how we respond. And it reminds us that in every difficulty, we can see a blessing or we can see a challenge. What we see is up to us. Marianne Williamson said that in life, when there are events in her life, they aren't always going to turn out the way she would like them to turn out. She said, but she's okay with that. And I think she said that because Marianne Williamson knows how to pray. Marianne Williamson knows how to meditate. Marianne Williamson knows how to write prayers and affirmations. In other words, Marianne Williamson has tools to deal with difficult times. You and I can have those same tools because we teach them in CSL. We teach them in the foundation class. And we sure want to learn before the difficult times come, because when you're going through tough issues, it's too late to say, oh, what are the 5 steps of treatment again? How do I write that affirmation? What do I need? What do I need to do? You know, there's a Bible passage that talks about building a house on sand or building a house on a rock. And it says, if you build it on sand, when the rain and winds come, the house will collapse. When you build it on a rock, this house will continue to stand. Life is like that too. And the rock in our life is love. People may betray us. People may disappoint us. We may lose jobs. We may lose money. but when our heart remains open, we can move beyond any issue in our life. And Marianne says she trusts life not because she trusts the world, but because she trusts the God within. She trusts her intuition. She trusts her common sense. She trusts her intelligence. And she wrote, I place my life in the hands of God each day, and I trust that He knows what He was doing, even when I do not. I want to read you another quote by Wayne Muller on our inner guide. He said, neither my pain nor my confusion can stop the relentless companionship of this true and faithful voice. Something more vital, strong, and true lies embedded deep within me. You know, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I read that the most used saying in the most used phrase rather in the New Testament is be not afraid. Be not afraid. Now, the people that wrote that were being persecuted, they were being abused, they were being tortured, and they were being murdered. So there is no way they wrote that to mean be not afraid because nothing bad is going to happen to you. No, what they meant was be not afraid because when sorrow comes, when pain comes, when illness comes, when grief comes, no matter what comes to you, there's a presence within, a Spirit of God that will hold us up and keep us strong. Something within you and me is never broken. Something within you and me knows what is true. Something in you and me is waiting to be uncovered. And when we touch that place, that's when we are healed. So I want to end with words from that great spiritual writer, Anonymous, who said, let us remember that the only limits that can truly bind us are the ones we believe in. Spirit knows no boundaries, and as expressions of that infinite life, neither do we. Each time we choose faith over fear, possibility over doubt, and love over limitation, we step more fully into our divine inheritance of freedom. So today, let us walk in that awareness that life is for us, never against us. Let us see beyond appearances and live for the truth that's within us, that is the power, the wisdom, and the courage to create without end. We are unlimited beings living in an unlimited universe, and the best is yet to be. And so it is. God bless you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you in a few moments.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Ron. That's an awesome talk. Some great questions, and we'll discuss those over on Zoom in just a little bit. Thanks. So now it's time for our New Minister Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer. So if you would say this with me, there is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is a fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law, and it is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I am offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express spirit and serve the highest and greatest good for all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious, and so it is. And now it's time for our conscious giving. You can donate at cslmidtown.org/donate. You can scan the QR code on the screen. And we are grateful for everyone that supports this community in every way, whether it's by monetary giving or time. We are grateful for that. So say with me now our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. A couple of announcements. I want to thank Becky for being our practitioner today and Ron for being our speaker today. Next week, we've got Reverend James Peake is our speaker online. His topic is going to be opinion, fact, truth, or something else. 10 a.m. on Sunday morning, we have our adult study group. They're going through this Science of Mind textbook. You don't have to read that week's chapter to join the discussion. So you can get there by going to our website, cslmidtown.org, and scroll down to the bottom where the Zoom link is and click on that and put in the passcode. You can download the CSL or the New Minister's Sacred Covenant Easy Prayer from our website as well. And you can join us after this for a discussion with Ron and Becky. Same website, cslmidtown.org, and scroll down to the Zoom link, click that with the passcode and get into that discussion, which is happening right after this. And now let's do our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. And so it is. Have a great week, everybody.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey, oh yeah, grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every
There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are.